welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. I am here with Kami, and we are here to talk about the last 4 movies. I did think about that because it was a span over 4 days, which is different what they've done, like what they did last year, which is like the two movies a night.
Right.
So,
hi everybody. Hello.
And Kami's here with her wonderful Christmas shirt.
Oh yes. If you're on YouTube, there you go. If you're not watching, if you're only listening to the audio, I've got this awesome sweatshirt that my mom gave me. It's not quite an ugly Christmas sweater, but it's green. The collar has gold lining on it, and then it's got gold stars with a Santa right in the middle. So it's pretty cool.
Super fun. And I didn't even think of that. I was just like, oh, podcast. So, but I do have my Christmas Starbucks Merry Coffee cup. Whoop, whoop. And then I have my not so Christmas Disney shirt here. So, but it's okay. Mickey is celebrating Christmas as we speak, I've heard. So, yeah. No. And then they are moving back to just the Friday, Saturday.
Or Saturday, Sunday.
Or Saturday, Sunday. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Weekends. Which I'm kind of bummed about. I kind of wish it was at least Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I agree. I mean, the overlapping, we can deal with that, but it was just so much easier. Just set the DVR every Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, and then we don't have to try to overlap, but whatever, roll with the punches.
Yes. I will miss a Friday night movie. I will say that. I will say, Hallmark, if you're listening.
I'll say it too.
Yeah.
I'll say it too. I love the Friday night.
I love the Friday night movies because usually Friday I'm like done with the full week of work. I just want something happy and relaxing, and Friday night's like that's like our casual chill night. Saturday's usually go for us, and then Sunday we have church, but Friday night's the one night we want like the Friday family movie night, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So anyways, just a little plug there, Hallmark.
Friday.
Maybe we'll start a hashtag or something. Hallmark's Friday night movie or something. Let's get that trending.
Okay, sure. You go ahead and start that.
I'll go ahead and start that. Alrighty, let's start off with Blue Ridge Mountain Christmas. This was based on the book Christmas Bride. And then it starred Benjamin Ayers and Rachel Lee Cook. So this movie, as a recap, was basically about a girl who's helping her sister plan her wedding, and she plans it at the bed and breakfast where she grew up until she was about a teenager, and then they moved away and such. And she's a very important hotel manager. She comes home.
Assistant hotel manager.
Oh, that's right. That's key. And all that. So, as that is a quick recap, I hope I've whet your appetite to watch this movie if you haven't already. So pause here, watch it, and then come back. So Kami, what were your overall thoughts?
This one was a sweet one in that I liked that it was somebody planning a wedding for somebody else. It wasn't somebody trying to plan their own wedding, because that can get messy. And and especially, okay, this is me, but I've never been one for Christmas weddings because I want Christmas to be by itself, and I can say that without any big anger problems because my parents were married at Christmas time, and so we've always had their anniversary. But I prefer being proposed to at Christmas, which my husband did do, so smart man. but we got married in June, and so I love being able to have Christmas be all by itself and be able to just celebrate Christmas and then have another reason to celebrate later. But if you're going to have a Christmas wedding, I thought this one was really was nice. The funny thing is, I never noticed it before, but Rachel Lee Cook, she has mannerisms like my brother's wife.
Oh,
And
that's
so the
funny.
whole time, yeah, it was really funny. I'm watching it, I'm going, oh my gosh, she looks like Shelley. And she doesn't look a thing like her, but her
Mhm.
speech patterns and her mannerisms were so much like my
Mhm.
sister-in-law. Benjamin Ayres definitely gets brownie points for being the really adorable single father,
Mhm. Yes.
widowers are incredibly good looking, um, so yeah, he gets brownie points for being a very good looking
Yes.
widower and a very sensitive father.
Mhm.
He
Yes.
I thought he did that really well. The I liked everything that they did with it. The one thing is I thought that their chemistry was a little touch and go. There were times when
Yeah.
it was really, really, really strong, and especially that the Christmas opening game.
Mhm.
The Christmas opening game was very, very strong when
Mhm.
when their hands are tied together and they're
Yes.
trying to open and they're trying to open
The
the
little
Christmas,
gift, with the
yeah, the
little bell in it.
bell.
Yep.
Yeah, and the mom, the way she just throws the stuff
Yeah.
behind her and like, your team. And I thought, and their chemistry was so strong in that scene. And like I said, there
Mhm.
were several times when it was really palpable, but then it let off. And so, oh, that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I didn't get the romance as much. I definitely got a
yeah,
good friendship.
yeah, the
Um,
romance aspect kind of got in the way. Otherwise,
mhm.
it was a fantastic story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And then real quick on the Benjamin Ayres thing, let me just say it is kind of funny to me how he can play like an older dad with a older kid because he's in the Chronicle mysteries,
yes,
right?
yes,
Right? And he has that
uh-huh.
daughter who's in college or something.
Yeah, she's a freshman in college,
Yeah,
you're
and
right.
he's so which means he's maybe slightly older than his character in this movie, which I thought he was maybe slightly younger. Still in that same range, but being a dad to a, 19, 20-year-old is totally different than being a dad to like a
A
8, 9, 10
10-year-old.
year old, right? So I was pretty impressed with that. I was like, yeah, getting into the character of like the dad in that stage of life,
Yeah.
was pretty impressive to me. And yeah, I definitely got the friendship chemistry there. I like lots of little aspects of it. One thing that kind of struck me as funny, and I'm a big mystery watcher. I love all the Hallmark mysteries. Um, the the couple, the sister Junie and the fiance I think they were both either the murderer or like an accomplice or something to other.
So you had trouble getting past
Yeah,
that, huh?
yeah. I looked at Junie and I was like, "Oh, you were in that one movie. I think it was the Mystery 101, where she was the pharmacist or something like that.
I
Or
think so. I
yeah,
think so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. And then the fiance was in one of the Chronicle mysteries." And he was also in, I think, Aurora Tea Garden and Garage Sale Mysteries, but he's always been
He's
like,
also he's a prominent character in Holly
oh,
Robinson
yes,
Peeps.
yes.
What, oh my gosh, what is that called
Morning Show
again?
Mysteries.
Morning Show. That was right on the tip of my tongue. Morning
Yes.
Show Mysteries. Yes.
So that was just one thing that struck me as funny because I was like, oh, these are like two murderers in other series getting married together. This is funny. But they did their part so well. I mean, as non-murderers, of course, which I think shows the range of their their acting.
They're playing non-murderers. They're
Yes.
amazing.
um, I also like the fact that her job wasn't a huge storyline like I thought it was going to be.
I agree. It
Mhm.
was very much in the background. It wasn't her career was banking on her getting a promotion or something like that. Because
Right.
it, I mean, yeah, it makes for a good storyline and a good driving force, but it's just nice to have something different.
Hmm.
It's nice to be different every once in a while.
Yes. Yes. Because I totally thought they were going to do the whole, oh, an inn. You know what? This would be a great, sale for us. Go get it, especially since you have connections and all that. But it really wasn't. And that part of the storyline she came up with herself because she had an emotional investment to that, the inn and quote unquote saving it. But I really appreciated the fact that they didn't do the whole corporate craziness for this movie, because that's just one more layer.
The other thing that I really appreciated is this family had already sold the inn.
Mm-hmm.
That Willow's family, Rachel's character, they had already sold the inn. They sold the inn when she was 15 after her father passed away because they couldn't keep it up anymore. And they went to a restaurant, which is, I think probably easier to handle, I'm guessing. And that's why they made the move. But just the fact that they weren't, because yes, Benjamin airs David. David is going back and forth between selling it and not selling it, but it's not because the inn is in trouble.
Right.
He just doesn't want to do it by himself anymore because it was his wife Shelley's passion. And so I really liked that aspect. It's funny though, my husband, he's not the biggest Hallmark fan, but he'll peek in every once in a while. And I wrote down what he said because it was so funny. Said he's a single dad and he's trying to make partner. He's crazy. Drop the partner, keep the inn. My husband's very entrepreneurial. Yeah, he's very entrepreneurial minded. And so it's like, drop the partner, keep the inn. There are so many more opportunities for growth if you advertise it right.
Right. Get on Facebook, advertise
this. He said the big thing is, as a partner, he'll still have people to answer to. But if he's the owner of the inn, flat out, then he doesn't have to answer to anybody. Yeah, he's big on that, my husband.
Yeah. I hear you on that. One question, actually I have two questions. So the first question is, when did she give the business plan to David, or did he just find it? Did I miss that?
Oh.
Because it seemed like they were talking in the bar and he says, oh, you heard I'm selling, like I made the deal or whatever. And she's holding her stuff and then she walks away. And then I think it was like a couple scenes later towards the end, she walks out of the inn after they find the little reindeer or whatever it was that Natalie had lost, the little stuffed animal. And he's holding her portfolio saying, when were you going to show me this, or something along those lines. And I was like, wait a second, I feel like there was a scene that was cut. Like maybe he found it, or did she give it to him?
I don't think she gave it to him.
I didn't think she did either.
Yeah, I don't think she did. So I don't have anything. I'm scanning my notes. I don't have anything on him getting the business plan. I don't think that was the other thing, is he wasn't angry about the idea, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He wasn't angry about the idea of her company taking over the inn.
Right.
So they just weren't interested. Yeah, they just weren't interested.
Right. But yeah, maybe a scene was cut. Maybe she had placed it and he picked it up and was like, "What's this? Whose is this?" And then he sees it, and then end scene. She walks out.
Possible.
We'll put that in our little imaginary missing scenes.
Put a pin in it.
Yeah.
Put a pin in it.
And then my second question for this movie is the barn and the hotel in the same filming location?
That's a very good question, because I mean the answer is probably not, because they have to mix scenes and sets constantly and locations. The inn itself was in Darrow and Darrow. Yes, yeah, baby. That series, I'm just gonna say it right now. So Kimberly Williams Paisley, if you are listening, That is my favorite. That the Darrow and Darrow is some of my favorite movies and mystery stuff. So,
Yes.
and Tom Cavanaugh, you too.
Yes. Yeah, and part of the reason why I asked that is because they did a really good job of making you think it was in the same, like, it was just like a walk away, like, I don't know, across the street or something like that. Just because of the panning of the filming, how they did that. Like, you'd see, Rachel Lee Cook's character, like, look off in the distance towards where the barn is, and then they'd show the barn and her standing, like, in front of the barn looking at it in the very beginning.
Right.
Which it didn't, at that moment, I wasn't thinking, like, oh, they're at different places, but there are several moments where they did that, where the characters would look towards the barn. Which was probably not there, but I thought they did a good job of making you believe it was in the same location.
It's all about movie magic.
Oh, yes. It just struck me when I realized that the house was the Darrow and Darrow house, and I was like, wait a second.
There's no barn! There's no barn!
Yeah. And that barn looks very familiar. I think, is it the same barn that Rita and Norman got married in?
I didn't recognize it as the Rita and Norman from Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Mm-hmm. What I recognized it was the one from the Kevin and Danica film, where they're the two best friends.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're the maid of honor. The maid of honor and the best man. Wedding bells. Yes. Thank you. And Christopher Russell is the groom, and Tammy Gillis is the bride. Yes. Yeah, I'm pretty certain that's the place where they almost got married, and then where Danica and Kevin's characters actually did get married. So.
Yes. Yeah. So much fun. I just love the fact that we're like, oh yeah, that's this house, and these people were in these movies, and this happened here.
and that we are Hallmark nerds enough to
We'd like to take a second to thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. We are so delighted to be working with Glamour Jewelry Box, which is a really great thing, especially for this time of the year, when you're trying to finish off that ensemble that you have for the holiday parties, other things going on. You want that perfect accessory to go with your outfit. You get every month a necklace, set of earrings, and a bracelet. And they try to be on trend, but not too weird. Kami, you got to see this jewelry. What did you think?
I thought it was gorgeous. It was just the right touch of classy, but different. I especially loved the bracelet because it had this kind of twisted, interconnected quality. And so I can't wait to wear it. This is it's my first little bit of Hallmarkies merch that I'm getting as an official podcast member. So I'm excited, and it's going to be, I can't wait. It's going to be great.
It's really cool, and you get $5 off on your first month subscription. Go to glamourjewelrybox.com and enter Hallmarkies at checkout, and you can get your first box.
What would you give it now?
What would I give it now? I'd probably give it orange socks, because I didn't love it, but I did not hate it. It was not, and I have to say this. I don't know her name, but the little girl who played Benjamin's daughter.
Oh yeah, Natalie. Mm-hmm.
Natalie. I don't know the actress's name, but she was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And with child actors, it can be so touch and go. Yeah. And I thought that she did her part so beautifully. And I specifically remember at the tree lighting that she looked like Snow White as a little girl, because she had her black flowing hair and then the red bow. And so I said, oh my goodness, she looks like a small Snow White. And the person who was playing Willow's mom, the actress also played in When Calls the Heart. She played Greta.
Yes, she did.
The investor.
Yes,
the investor who took over the bank. And so that immediately is a connection, because I'm the hooked Hardy. So
yeah. She was also Oliver's lawyer in Signed, Sealed, Delivered.
Oh, I remember that too. Yes, I'm a postable as well as a Hardy. So yeah, I thought she did a really good job.
Mhm.
So I would probably say Orange Socks, because there were some missing key elements for me personally. It was not my favorite one of the weekend,
Mhm.
but it was great. It
Mhm.
wasn't bad at all.
Yeah. My original ranking was socks, and I give them very boring. I just wrote socks. Most of my other rankings were like all these like paragraphs of randomness. But just from reading the description, and I was just like, it really didn't hook me. But after watching this, I would upgrade to a small orange. I enjoyed it. I thought it was
All right.
fun, delightful, cute. Lots of recognizable elements that kind of kept me like, whoa, okay, what's going on here? But I thought it was sweet. So awesome. Well, if you watch this movie this weekend, let us know what your rankings are, because we would love to hear it. So the next movie was Holiday for Hero, starring Melissa Claire Ian and Mark Blucas as Audrey and Matt. Alrighty. So one fun fact about this movie is our friend and co-host, who is not here at this moment, Lisa, aka Girl Gone Hallmark, also known as Lisa Fayco on Twitter, was an extra in this movie with her daughters, her kiddos. And yeah, I remember when they filmed it, because she said it was really cold. And then I remember she tweeted,
it was actually cold?
Yes, she said it was really, really cold that night. It was the tree lighting ceremony.
Okay.
That they were the extras in. And then I remember her tweeting really, and then quickly deleting it after, because I guess afterwards they said no social media. But I remember her saying, behind wrong guy. And I was like, oh, she's behind the wrong guy. Like the antagonist, male antagonist. And then she deleted. She's like, oops, wasn't supposed to do that. They just made an announcement saying delete all your social media posts about this.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. So that's a fun fact. We'll have to get her on and ask her about her experience. That'd be a fun little, bonus episode,
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So,
well,
I was going to say, didn't you have connections to this movie too?
I did.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, this one meant a lot to me, because my friend McLean was the executive producer, and his wife Claire was the director. And McLean and I grew up together. We've known each other all our lives.
Oh, wow.
And his first Hallmark movie project was Small Town Christmas, and he was the director. And so then he was in, and he and his wife just plunged in. And this was actually the first one that he told me about. He said, yeah, I did Small Town Christmas, and Claire is up for holiday, for one called Holiday for Heroes. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic, McLean. Yeah. So, and then I got to talk to Claire, and I was talking to her about other projects, but I said, so is there anything that you could tell me about Holiday for Heroes? And, she didn't want to give too much away. And we were talking about Love, Fall in Order at the time. But one thing she did say is that Mark Blucas is just such a distinguished individual. And so it was really, really good for her to be able to work with him. And that, here it is. Mark is a man's man. Yeah, Mark is a man's man. He's got a great build, and it was her first Hallmark project. So
wow.
It was, so this was, and they made it together, McLean and Claire. So it was a really, really sweite thing for me, because I got to cheer on my friend and his wife, because I've talked to her, but I have yet to meet her in person. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's so cool. It's such a small world. Well, I'm just gonna throw it out here because I mean it's gonna just snowball after, but you can tell them I loved this movie. Like,
okay, I'll tell them.
I love this movie. And when I say snowball, it will be snowballing into like gushing. Like I have a few notes here and it's like love, love, love. I loved. My notes on my phone. Last year's Veterans Christmas movie, I wasn't a huge fan of. It was okay. So this one, the story of it in itself with the letters and then, the meaning, I was like, okay, I'm going to rank this really high. I said originally, and Every Kiss Begins with K Diamond. I stand by my ranking.
I remember that. I remember that now. Yeah.
Yes. So what, so before I go into like my gushing, how did you feel about this movie?
I loved it. I really did. I thought they had very, very good chemistry. Mm-hmm. Melissa Claire Egan, that it was her first Hallmark film and she nailed it.
She did.
Yeah. I was really mad he didn't kiss her earlier.
Oh, yes.
I said in the tweet fest when they're doing the s'mores, I said, why did they not kiss the stuff off each other's lips? Wait, is that too soon? Yeah. And then there was that part where he almost kissed her, even had her by the face, and then he walked up like, oh, come on!
I know. I was sitting there like this.
Yeah.
And then he walked away and I was like, wait, what?
Are you kidding me?
Oh, man.
So and funny. Then it had that beautiful moment where her brother and her friend's husband are the toy soldiers, which
I know.
was so cute. Now, this is the performer in me, because I was a theater major in college and I still do acting sometimes, and I'm also a singer. So I'm a big performer. And so when they turned around and it became obvious that it was them, I said, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. And I was so happy that they finished the routine. I was like, they did it! Yay! Because the performer in me, even though it's a sweet moment when you see someone that you haven't seen in a long time and you go running up to them like, you just ruined the performance! In Home for Christmas Day with Catherine Bell, and she and her daughter Betsy hears that her boyfriend has been killed in action. Part of me completely understands that she would run off the stage. Right. But the performer in me is going, no, get through it and then go cry. I'm terrible.
That's so funny.
But so that was one tiny little piece that just I really appreciated, that they kept performing, they kept it going, and then it ended and everybody's all hugs and kisses.
Yes. Oh, that was so sweet. I definitely cried in that moment. I mean, I knew it was coming. It's a Hallmark movie, right?
Of course, yeah.
I knew it was coming, but then there was like a small piece of me that was like, no, maybe they'll do like the whole like FaceTime, Skype, giant TV and all of them are over there, but hopefully maybe they'll come in somehow. They'll be the soldiers. And then when I saw Matt's cap was like way low, as were all the others, I was like, oh, they're hiding their faces.
Yeah.
So, yes, I thought it was, I love this movie. I also love that their miscommunication was more of like it was more natural. It was a natural misunderstanding because, they had written to each other over the course of a year.
They're going to know each other.
They're going to know each other enough. But then at the same time, when you first meet someone that, you have strong feelings for, and then, so for example, Matt's character, they obviously had strong feelings for each other, but you don't just walk up to, a girl and go, hey, who's that? Who's that dude right there you've been talking to? like, is that your boyfriend? Because then it comes off as just, it's a kind of a turn off, you know? So I appreciated that he kind of let things like take its course until it was, you know, revealed that, oh, wait a second, I was completely reading this wrong the whole time. And there was no giant blow up of like, how dare you? I can't believe you thought my realtor was my boyfriend. I mean, you know, that whole dynamic there was just like, wait a second, you know, hold on. What happened was, this is my realtor and this is what's been going on. So, you know, and he was like,
asks her. He asks her the way a normal person is supposed to.
Right. right. And like I said, you can't just meet someone and right off the bat just start slinging mud and accusing them of like, you weren't open with me. You told, you know, it's like you just met like 2 seconds ago, like in person. So I did appreciate that the misunderstanding wasn't a whole giant thing, and it wasn't like full of resentment and full of like this, I don't know. A lot of the movies do that really bad misunderstanding where it's like, okay, I get your feelings, but at the same time, like, y'all just met, so you know, maybe ask some probing questions they weren't leading you on, you know. So that was one thing I personally appreciated about this movie.
Well, and you gotta love her line, he spends more time on his hair than I do. Like, yeah, baby,
yes.
That was just funny.
Yeah.
I loved the whole ice rink thing, because that was one thing that makes these movies so special, even if they're not 100% accurate. My husband actually looked it up on his phone and said, they did the military part wrong. Will you just be quiet?
That would be my husband too.
Okay, good. I'm not the only one.
My husband's biggest problem with these movies at Christmas is when they're holding their cups and they're just like, oh yeah, it's so hot, like, and they're drinking. He's like, they're empty. Why do they act like they're holding empty cups? They need to act like it's hot. Like, nobody holds a hot cup like that. Like,
honey, I'm an actor. That bothers me terribly. Sorry. And, you know, not only are they holding a coffee cup that's supposed to be scintillating hot, but they just do this. Like, you did not take a drink. Like, and they do this. Their lips are closed. I'm like, you did not just take a drink. Anyway, but so one thing I really love about these movies is they find the moments, and and the ice rink was such a beautiful moment. Because he found something that is important to her, and the fact that she says, when it comes to Christmas, I operate on an 11, because that is me. I used to be. Now I have 4 children, so I it's more geared toward them, and I have a toddler who is he is called the klepto hurricane, because he takes everything and destroys everything. So we have to kind of temper back the decorations, because he'll grab everything. But on a usual level, when I'm not dealing with kid stuff and I'm not bombarded by school things and everything, I operate Christmas at a total 11. And so he found something that was special to her, and she said, this rink is probably at about a 4. And then he gets the hockey moms. He said, hockey moms can do anything. I'm like, yeah, they can.
Yeah.
look at that thing. And it was magical. It was magical. And it just, that's what made my heart melt.
Yeah, I audibly gasped with all the trees and all the lights and everything, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, so did I.
I loved this movie. I just loved it so much for so many different reasons. I love the family aspect. I loved all the details put into it. Just everything. This is a movie I would buy. Like, you know, this is not one I would just like put on and just like, I would buy it and I would probably watch it every year around Veterans Day, you know? Because it was so good. So good. I loved it.
It was beautiful. It really was. There are 2 things that I really appreciated. Actually, 3. At the very beginning, when he says, this is home, I just went, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
I know.
It was just for him to say, this is home. Oh, and
Mhm.
then, but then what does her brother do? Just jumps on that, throws him the bag of coffee. I'm like, I'm not a
Mhm.
coffee drinker, so I can't appreciate the fact that
Mhm.
he gave him coffee, but
Right.
I can appreciate a beautiful gesture. And
Mhm.
for that tiny little thing, tossing him a bag of coffee to start this entire process, that's huge.
Mhm.
And then I
Yeah.
can't remember who he's talking to, but he's saying that he's been writing this girl, and it's his best friend who's now
Mhm.
the hockey coach. And the emails? No, actual letters. Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! I love the written word, not the
Mhm.
typed word. I love the written word. And
Yeah.
so that was something I really appreciated. Also, the fact that he is going to be Bart's assistant coach,
Mhm.
and then he is doing some extra work with Jade's son. The
Mhm.
fact that he's a coach and military, and then
Mhm.
he tutors them because he's a history buff
You're
too.
right.
So he's the perfect mentor figure,
Mhm.
and he not only helps them with their studies and their athletics, but he has the military perspective, and he
Mhm.
can really help Jade's son get through the trying time of being
Mhm.
without his dad. It
Yeah.
was beautiful.
Yes.
Mark Lucas plays a serviceman very,
Oh.
very well. He did it in Operation Christmas
Mhm.
flawlessly. He did it here flawlessly. I see a lot of servicemen roles in his future.
Yes. Yes, yes, absolutely. And on that point too, I mean, he's the perfect mentor for those, for those kids, just because he's been there, and that's a military town, and they need someone like that who understands what these military kids are going through, because not everybody has that understanding and empathy. So yeah, I loved it. Loved.
Oh, and with the misunderstanding thing,
Hmm.
here you probably appreciated this. Bart, he's speaking Matt's language. Don't make tactical decisions based on hearsay. I was like,
Yes,
go Bart!
yes.
Go Bart!
I did
Yeah, man.
appreciate that line. Yes. I
I
did
did
appreciate that.
too. I did too, because you could feel Matt wanting to go there,
Mhm.
wanting to do the whole misunderstanding thing.
Mhm.
But then he says, "Don't make tactical decisions based on hearsay." It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, man, you rule, Bart. Good man.
Yes, I did appreciate their friendship, how he just kind of guided, he was Bart was Matt's mentor, in a sense of, like,
Yeah,
easing back
yeah, in a
into
way.
home, normal civilian life again, and
Sure,
with
yeah.
all that. So I like that he had another man's man buddy,
Yeah. Oh,
so.
and the other thing was the "would you let me embarrass you for a minute?" The fact
Oh
that she
yeah.
the fact that she said it about him in the beginning.
Mhm.
And one thing I really loved is when Matt said, "Tell them everything's okay,
Mhm.
because you're their heroes, and if
Yes.
they don't have to worry about what's at home, then they
Mhm.
can focus." And so then he turns the tables on her and says,
Mhm.
"Would you let me embarrass you for a minute?" And even though the one problem I did have a little bit with is that once she chose Matt over Will, then the two seem to be buddies. Like, wait a second, wouldn't there
Like,
be some kind of rift? But
yeah.
okay. So that was the one thing that I had a little problem with, but just that everybody worked together to make it so
Mhm.
special for her,
Mhm.
because
Yes.
she had always been working so hard for everyone else.
Yeah. 100% agree. So, did you give this a diamond originally?
Yes, I did.
So how would you rank it today?
Oh, diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I'm
Agree.
if I'm going to go if I'm going to just get the tiniest little cynical edge that my husband is implanted and sitting next to me, I'll give it an orange diamond, but it's still, you know, that's the lowest it's gonna go.
The lowest of the diamonds. That's funny. Oh, awesome. Well, I hope that it's McLean and Claire.
Yeah, McLean and Claire.
I hope they do another movie in the near future. I'll have to stay tuned because this one was awesome. I can't wait to see what other things they have in store for.
Yeah, me too. And then I'm hoping they'll let me audition for it.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, it would. I auditioned for Love, Fall in Order. And I wasn't able to make it, but that was filmed after Holiday for Heroes. Holiday for Heroes was because that was Claire's first one. So so they're really starting this trend of being involved in movies together, and so it's so enjoyable to watch. It really is.
Yeah, so fun. Alrighty. So our third movie this weekend was Picture Perfect Christmas with Merritt Patterson and John Core as Sophie and David. So how this is about the photographer who comes to help her grandma and who ends up being kind of a fake nanny, well, not fake nanny, but a substitute nanny for her co-nanny. There you go. That's a better word. Co-nanny for her grandmother's neighbor's nephew. So,
right.
How did you feel about this movie?
One thing that really, really excited me about this movie is the fact that John Core's character had adopted the nephew. I started my commentary on the preview with this. I'm just gonna say right now, I love dogs, I love animals. I'm not an animal hater, but and one of the only reasons that we don't own a dog is because we're not living in our own home right now. So we love dogs and all of that. But one thing that I have gotten just the tiniest bit weary is all of the pet adoption pushes.
Oh yes.
And I'm just like, another pet adoption. Oh joy. Another pet adoption. Oh joy. And just to acknowledge that children need homes too.
Yes.
I really, really, really appreciated that. And so that started me off right away on a very good note. I didn't think I was going to like John Core as much as I did. I liked him. I liked him a lot more than I thought I would. I'm not a huge facial hair fan. Facial hair is a little bit of a turnoff for me. And so I saw that he was a little shaggy and so I was like, you know, but I liked him a lot more than I thought I would. And then the little boy, first thing I saw him in was Signed, Sealed, Delivered.
Oh yes.
Yes, when he played another nephew. And the guy who played Austin in Blue Mountain Ridge Christmas
was the uncle.
Yes, he was the uncle. So everything's connected.
Yes.
But I just adored that little boy, and I think his acting skills have only grown because in Signed, Sealed, Delivered, he did kind of that over-enthusiastic, I think you better come out top.
Yeah,
but in this movie, he was so real. So once again, they hit gold with this kid because, like I said, kid actors can be really touch and go as far as realism. And I know that it's Hallmark and fairy tale and all that, but I have to admit, I'm a bit of a realism fan. And it's probably because I'm an actor. I really like it when it's real.
Yeah.
And when reactions don't look fake.
Right, right.
So sue me, right? But yeah, they struck gold with this kid. He was so real. He was so real.
Yes.
And I remember Whitney saying that she was a little nervous because she said that when the kids are in the majority of the movie, sometimes that tends for it to go down in quality a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was the case at all. I thought that they had great
Mhm.
chemistry and interaction with the whole cast, you know,
Right.
with the whole immediate cast.
Right, right. Yeah, he was really good. He was definitely not overreactive, and he just seemed to flow naturally, you know?
Yeah,
Just kind of like an
absolutely.
everyday life situation with him. One thing that I found that was really funny for me was their quote unquote meet cute, which wasn't all that cute because it was a complete misunderstanding. He opens the door and he's like, she's like, she's holding, you know, the nephew's hat, right? And he's like, you're like, come on in. And she's like, but, and he's like, you know, asking her all the questions. Where'd you go to school? And he completely just insults her for her degree because he doesn't realize like who she is and all that. And then when she's like, let me solve this for you.
Embarrassing. So embarrassing.
Funny. So funny. I
But it's clever. You gotta say it's clever.
And it's different, that's for sure. They didn't like, you know, run into each other walking the dog outside, or, you know, running into knocking over someone's trash can or something random like that too. I thought the grandma was really funny.
Yeah, she's adorable, especially since she played such an angry character in Danica's movie Coming Home for Christmas. That it was just fun to see her as more of a grandmotherly type. So.
Yes. Overall, for me, I thought the story was sweet. It was cute. It was one of those, I think it's one of those movies that I would play in the background. I didn't love it. And I think, to be fair, I was coming off of the Holiday for Heroes high.
Okay, so, that's not fair.
You know?
That's not fair.
I know. I didn't hate it. I just didn't love it, but I would totally watch it again. I mean, you know, I thought it was sweet. I thought John Cord, Patterson, the rest of the characters did a great job. But yeah, that was just my take. I thought it was okay. Again, I will watch this again later on after, like on a Tuesday night.
My 8-year-old, it was really cute. She was watching part of it with me, and she said, she's a really good actor. I like her.
Oh, yeah.
It was fun. And one thing I noticed about Merritt is she has a great flirty smile. There's that one part where he's talking to her, and she's just listening, and she's got the most adorable flirty smile. And I'm so sad that Rachel can't be here for this because she'll appreciate this. John Core had the smolder. He had the smolder.
He sure did.
Okay. Speaking of the smolder, so we hear that he's the, what do they call it? The best business bachelor of 2014. And I love that his best friend totally outed him. And he's like, no. He comes in all embarrassed. No. But we don't get to see the photos. We don't even get to see one.
Yes,
because she says,
right.
I'm definitely seeing those photos. Like, we didn't get to see even one.
Yes.
Come on.
I know.
One photo. One.
I did love how he was like, that was just for business. And he was like, well, we got good business out of it. And I'm like, yeah. Well, we will put that in our, little bank of missing scenes that should have happened.
Yeah, but it's more fun giving details and watching you squirm,
Yeah, for sure.
It was so funny to watch him squirm and to watch him be so humble. I mean, while I'm on that, it's so hard for me to not pay back people who give kindnesses to me. I just thought,
yeah,
that's not something that you really, you don't see a businessman who is trying so hard to be independent to acknowledge. You see it hard for him to say thank you, but he acknowledges everything that everyone is doing for him.
Yeah.
It was It was sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, okay, Jody, the
For sure.
And then, okay, Jody, the ex-girlfriend, she was engaged.
Oh, yes.
Totally threw me for a loop.
That one did. I was like, wait, what?
She's not trying to win him back. Okay, I like you.
Yes, and I did like how the breakup with Merritt Patterson's character and the boyfriend, the photographer,
in the middle of the movie.
In the middle of the movie, yeah.
Oh
instead
my
of
gosh.
like right at the end, and then she goes, for the main character. So I really liked how it just kind of played out in the middle. Like their relationship ended, and then it was like, oh, okay, and then she could develop the relationship without it feeling weird and too time.
Yeah, no,
So.
absolutely. I agree with you 100% because I get so tired of seeing these films with characters who have been in a 5-year dead end relationship. I'm just, what is wrong with you?
It's like, why are you still there? Right.
But okay, while we're on the smoldering look, Kaycee, we have to talk about the dance. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That had to be the best.
Yes.
Had to be the best part in the movie, even better than the kiss. I'm gonna say it.
Oh, yep.
Better than the kiss.
The dance was so sweet. Oh
my gosh.
Loved it.
Okay. So my friend Sarah and I, we called the ones where they throw the kiss in the last 5 minutes, we called those one kiss wonders. And we're not huge fans. Mm-hmm. We're not huge fans. And so whenever there's an interrupted kiss, we get really mad. So I was just like, why can't they kiss in the middle of the movie? And that was so perfect. I mean, I get the whole interrupted kiss thing is really hot right now. Come on.
I know. He could have at least kissed her on the forehead or like something just endearing. It would have been perfect.
But minus that dance, oh my gosh, my heart started pounding.
Yeah.
It was pounding. And for him to say, oh, well, it would be a shame to let a song you kind of love go to waste. Just that, how do I explain this without sounding like an idiot? The fact that neither of them was uncomfortable with the fact that they were getting close. Yeah. Because, that can make for a good moment and it can make for good romantic tension, but it was as if they simultaneously connected. Yeah. And just, we want to be together. We want to be close. We want to cuddle. And then just, that shot of him with his, I have a thing about noses. I don't know what it is. My husband and I will kind of rub noses sometimes, and I think it is so cute and so romantic. And so for his nose to be that close to her face, where he's kind of breathing in her scent. Oh, so romantic.
So adorable. That's so funny.
Sorry, I sound like a blithering idiot now, but whatever. Moving on.
So one question we got here on Twitter, which I found was interesting, from
I was hoping you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, she asked our thoughts on her tweet here. She says, daughter of 2 teachers here. It is a pretty terrible idea. It's a pretty terrible idea to pull a student for an extended Christmas vacation with his guardian uncle and guardian's girlfriend. I know it's Hallmark Channel, but I think that's an incredibly unstable choice. And then she has a gif of a guy like doing the cutoff sign.
Doing a cutoff.
So she asked for Hallmark Pod's thoughts. So what are your thoughts on this? I know you responded.
I have to go first.
No. I can.
No, I'm teasing. So I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, and they're both in school. I also have 2 younger kids, but obviously they're not in school yet. So I am not about missing school for the heck of it. I know some friends that when a parent has been on a long trip and then they come back, the kids get to take off school because the parent has been gone for a while. Like, you'll see them when they come home and you can spend that entire time together. my daughter, my 8-year-old, she's now on a bit of a stint where she thinks that she should be able to stay home just because she doesn't feel like going. And I go, no. She says, I think she's reading this wrong, but she says that her best friend gets to do it all the time. Well, not in this family. Sorry. And when I was 7, my grandfather passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And the morning that I found out in the morning when I got up to get ready for school. And the morning that I found out, I still had to go to school. Now, I think that was a bit extreme on my mom's part, but the reason why I think she did it was because we had to go to Utah for the funeral. And so I was already going to be missing a whole lot of school. So I do not believe in taking off just for the heck of it. However, Switzerland is an amazing opportunity. And I've lived in a foreign country when I was about his age, and it was an incredible experience. I didn't really appreciate it at the time, but I really appreciated it much later. And so my thought is that it would depend on what was happening when it was time to go, because she said we were going to push it to the new year, so we don't know if it was around New Year's Day or if it was just going to be in the new year. So if there was a lot going on and he had big projects, or there were going to be some big time things that were going to be covered, you got a grandmother right there that would be more than happy to stay with him. On the other hand, it's an incredible experience for a child that age. It's lovely that they're including him and they want him to be included. And it's also a great opportunity for them to bond because you know that they're going to be a future family.
Right.
So my opinion as a mom is it depends. It just really depends on what's happening when it's time to get ready to go.
Yeah. I agree with you there. For me, so for growing up, I was not allowed to miss school unless I was like super sick, family emergency. And I put on here, I had perfect attendance from 7th to 11th grade.
You go, girl.
I know. My parents are nurses, so I couldn't fake sick with them. I mean, they're like, no, you're not, no fever. Okay, you're going to go. All right.
You're fine.
You're fine. You're good. And so that was me growing up. My senior year, I got really sick. And so I missed a ton of school. Just, I sprained my ankle and I had to go to the doctor that day. And it wasn't even like missing a full day of school. It was like missing parts of school. And then I did get pretty sick. Like, I think I had like bronchitis or the flu or something crazy where I was out of school for a few days. But that was me growing up. And then as a mom, so I will say I did pull my kid out of school because their fall break was half a week. And then, so she did technically have school for Monday and Tuesday and like part of Wednesday, but she's also 4. So, I mean,
that's preschool.
Yeah.
That's not even real school.
Yeah, she's in kindergarten. So, I mean, like for me, I'm just like, it's fine. So we went to Disney, especially because we can. And she's, she's young. I mean, they're still learning their letters and she can pick up on all of that.
Yeah.
When
she's not missing a whole bunch of learning.
Right. Now, if she were older, no, I mean, there are things that they have to get done. So, I probably wouldn't pull her out for that. I think for me, if it's like an incredible opportunity, or
like Switzerland
or something where it was like, okay, what can we do in advance? And I would plan it. And I mean, it would be in advance. It wouldn't be a, spur of the moment thing. And she would, my kids would be doing like making up school as we're, getting towards, going towards this
have them take all of their work with them. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and do it beforehand. So they're like doubling up on assignments, making sure they're not behind. So I would definitely take those, necessary measures to make sure they weren't missing out.
Yeah.
Part of my reasoning for that too is like when it's one of those incredible opportunities and it's not just like, oh, we're gonna, head up Atlanta for a week for fun or go to Gatlinburg or whatever. I mean, I feel like family memories are very precious, and you don't have that time. You don't have
Absolutely.
a lot of time with, kids, especially, as they're growing up and growing older and everybody's schedules are getting busy. So again, like you, I would say it definitely depends. In this situation, I will say it is a little odd to me just because the relationship is so new.
Yes, I
So
will agree with that.
that one's kind of like a, ooh. And then on the other hand, if I want to be on the pro side of things, if it's like right at the New Year's, well, maybe his class doesn't start back up till the second week of January. So they have the
There you
first
go.
week of January to go. So,
maybe he won't miss a single day.
Yeah. Right. So that's just my take on that. It depends. To each their own.
Right.
Yes.
One thing I really adored about John's character was that he was so happy for her with the opportunities that she was getting.
Yeah.
And when he heard that she got the gig in Switzerland, I'm talking about in the middle of the movie, when he heard that she got the gig, he was excited for her. It was going to take her away from him, but he was excited for her because she had this amazing opportunity. And then when they're sitting next to each other on the bench and he moves a little closer and then she backs off, you can tell that he is so sad and disappointed, but he still kind of strokes her face.
I know.
He doesn't all of a sudden hate her.
Yeah.
He said, no, you don't have to be. I'm doing it to myself. My gosh. But he said, no, you don't have anything to be sorry for. And just, that softer tone, and he's still touching and stroking her cheek. And then, she says, I'll stay. But he says, no, accept it. Accept it, and we'll go with you.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I will say as a mom, that cannot become the normal.
Right, right.
I mean, with this one time, yes, we'll go. But I cannot take you with me every time I get an out-of-country assignment there.
Right. Right.
So that was, that was something that I thought was really, really sweet and really built up his attractive quality and really made him desirable as a character. And going back to the dance, apparently I'm very hung up on this. In the movie Falling for You with Tyler Hynes and Taylor Cole, they did the interrupted kiss so well. They're on the bridge. The lights are twinkling. It's the perfect moment. He takes hold of her face. People are coming. Whoa! Hands go down. We're not doing anything. And then he gets ready to walk away, and she pulls him back, and boom, kisses him.
Yeah.
I just went, yes! That's the epitome of the interrupted kiss, because you have the moment of interruption. Yay, good for you. But then you still have the perfect moment of the kiss, and it's not forgotten. So,
right.
Okay, I'm done.
So with your rankings, do you remember your old one, and what would you give it today?
I do not remember my old ranking, but I'm pretty sure because of the whole adoption thing, it was probably an orange or an orange diamond or something like that. I'm gonna go with an orange with diamond clusters on it. Okay. So it wasn't my favorite, but it was sure good.
Yeah. This one my original was an orange. I gave it socks this weekend, but cute, fuzzy, really warm socks. I know.
I'm shocked.
Again, I blame it on coming off of the holiday for Heroes High. It'll probably
all right.
It'll probably go up when I watch it again, because I mean there were so many cute moments in this movie, for sure.
Well, and that happens a lot when you go the second time through. You catch more stuff, and so because you're not desperately trying to take notes for a podcast.
Right.
We'd like to take a second to talk about our second sponsor of this episode of the podcast. They are the good folks over at Skylight Frame, and it's a really cool thing that they do. We've seen lots of digital frames before, but this is a unique one where you can actually have people email you photos directly to the frame. So you could be sitting there, watching your pictures go by, and boom, surprise picture from somebody in your family, which I think is such a fun new idea. And you think of how many pictures that we take on our, Instagram and everything, and those can just be uploaded immediately to the frame. I think it looks really nice. It's a 10-inch touch screen. It has a black frame, white matte. It just will go with anything in your house, and it'd just be really novel and sweet. So if you're looking for a great gift for somebody in your family, this is something that I think will really enjoy. And right now you can get $10 off your purchase of a Skylight Frame. You go to skylightframe.com, enter code Hallmark, and so $10 off. That's Skylight Frame, SKYLIGHTFRAME.com, and enter code Hallmark, not Hallmarkies.
And so then the last movie is The Mistletoe Secret, starring Tyler Hynes and Kelly Pickler as Alex and Aria. So, The Mistletoe Secret, basically, Kelly Pickler's character has entered her town for this travel magazine, blog show, TV thing for the Christmas festivities so that they can...
Masters of Travel.
Oh, yes. Put that town back on the map.
Woo!
So
Midway, Utah. I've actually passed through there. So.
Oh, okay.
But it was a long time ago. I couldn't tell you anything about if they actually do that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
But basically, it's basically a Christmas town. You have the Sugar Plum Inn, the Mistletoe Diner. All these cutesy little Christmassy names. So, okay, we gotta address here. Tyler Hynes picking out the ugly Christmas sweater made me laugh so hard because everybody knows all the Hallmarkies just are dying over his Henleys and sweaters. I think there's even a Twitter dedicated to Tyler Hynes t-shirts.
Tyler Hynes Henleys or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. There is.
Yes.
It's like a Twitter account being dedicated to Lee Coulter's plaid pants.
Yes. Gotta love the people who run those outfit Twitter accounts. They make
giving
me
all
laugh.
the props to the clothing.
Yes. So funny. So how did you feel about this one?
Tyler Hynes is one of those people. He's up there with Andrew Walker in my book. I would say Daniel Lissing as well because he's one of my favorites, but he's not in as many Hallmark movies as Tyler and Andrew are because they seem to be in a lot lately.
Oh yeah.
And Andrew's just been in millions.
Yeah.
So,
King of Hallmark.
But yeah, he is. So Tyler is right up there with Andrew in my book that if I see he's in it, I know I'm going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
And he can make anything that he's in better. I'm not a huge Kelly Pickler fan. I did not really care for Christmas in Graceland because I can't stand the twang. I'm a Texan. Born and raised in Texas, but my parents are both from the West Coast, and so I don't sound like it. I don't even use the word. No, I don't. And I don't even use the word y'all. It bugs me. So, I know.
And you're from Texas. That's funny.
I know. I'm a Texan through and through, and I don't use the word y'all.
And you really don't have an Southern accent either.
No, I don't. Not really. And so it creeps in now here and there, but it just, but her twang bugs me so much, and the nasal country singing, it's really hard for me to listen to as a trained singer. It just I just don't like it. It's not my style. Not saying, I mean, the girl has a gorgeous voice, but it's just not my style. Now I will say that her accent was not nearly as thick this time.
No,
So
it wasn't.
it was definitely tampered back, and I very much appreciated that. And it was funny because my husband, once again, he's kind of on the sidelines watching. I think he just secretly likes watching them, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, yeah."
Yeah.
But I also will say that there were several times in this one he laughed. He laughed at several lines, and I said, "You laughed! You laughed!
That means you liked it.
You liked it!" But he said, no, that was a good line. That was a good line. Anyway, but one thing he did say is her accent is way too thick for Utah. I've heard of American Fark, but no.
Yeah.
And then they covered it. They
did cover it.
That she's originally from North Carolina. And I went, yay, Hallmark. Good for you.
Yes, I was wondering about that too.
That would have bothered me. That would have bothered me if they had left it like that. That's not a Utah accent.
Yeah, no, for sure. I honestly was wondering how they were going to figure out how to cover up her accent or what they were going to do with it. And I also didn't pick up it was in Utah in the beginning either. But when everybody else, when they didn't have accents and it was snowy and it was Christmas themed, I was like, okay, this is somewhere out west
it's
somewhere.
Not in the South.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, where are we? What? I'm so geographically confused right now. And then she says the North Carolina thing, and I'm like, okay, maybe her mom's like super North Carolinian, and her dad doesn't have. Since she got the accent from the mom who's passed away, which covers her accent, because the dad didn't have an accent.
He did. It was much less. It was much more subdued, but he did. And may I say, Patrick Duffy as the dad, awesome choice.
Yeah, he did awesome. I didn't pick up on the accent. I really didn't. For the dad, I did not hear an accent.
I did.
Okay.
So trust me, it was there.
Yeah, maybe I'm just used to it because I am like basically Floribama. So I live in the South here. So, but yes, so
we got two Southern women. Yeah! We got two Southern women running the podcast today.
Yes. So Kelly Pickler. So when she was on American Idol, I just loved her back then. And like, I was like, Kelly Pickler. And we'd have like the little call-ins and they didn't have hashtags back then, but her would have been Pick Pickler, because that's what she'd always say. And I do enjoy country. So when she was in Christmas with Graceland, I thought it was odd. Like, it was odd because I was used to her as a singer, not as an actress. The movie itself was fine for me. I liked it. I mean, I did not like that she sang Silent Night 700 times. So I was very nervous that they were going to make her sing like Deck the Halls, 16 times in this movie, which they didn't. She just had like a little bit.
It was much more subdued. It was only twice that she sang. And
two different songs.
Two different songs too. Yes.
Yes.
I really did appreciate that big time.
And she was just singing to herself, which I also appreciated because they didn't make her out to be like some singer that wasn't the storyline here.
Right.
But as far as the storyline, I thought it was kind of funny. Just the whole mix them up with the ghostwriter. So Alex is Sterling Masters, ghostwriter.
Oh, and can we just say, what a jerk.
I know, and what a pretentious name.
Sterling was such a jerk, and I like that actor, Christopher Russell, but he's only been the lead in a handful of movies, and it's sad because he's so good looking.
Yeah.
And he plays the lead very well when he's given the chance. And he was in the movie with Jessica Lowndes. It was a Christmas movie where he was a photographer and she was the planner for the magazine. I'm blanking on the name. Shoot. Well, I'll think of it in a second. But so yeah, he has a lot of talent, which shows here because he was a complete jerk. I hated him.
Yes.
Even though he was so good looking, I couldn't stand him.
Yeah. I wrote here that Sterling Masters is such a bro. It's like, what's up, bro?
Oh, what's up, bro? Yeah, that's
bro.
a really good way of putting it.
He's such a bro. He's like, yeah, man, we've been friends for like 10 years. Thanks for doing all this. Thanks for doing my work so I can be the face. Yeah, no problem, man. Like, he was the worst. I mean, Christopher Russell, awesome job at being the worst.
Awesome job at being the worst, dude.
But I will say at the end, I did appreciate that he kind of acknowledged, like, oh, you've been on the mistletoe because you have a thing for her. Oh, I wish I would have known that, so I do appreciate the fact that he did stay true to Alex's, like, their friendship stayed true to each other. Like, they didn't have a man breakup in a way. And that he did acknowledge that, like, once he realized Alex had feelings for Aria, it was like, oh.
I thought he was pretty dense for not realizing it, and just when he took the ornament, I was like, oh, dude, that was wrong.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I didn't realize. How could you not realize that he wanted that ornament? But yeah.
Dude.
Okay.
He's a bro.
Dude.
He's a bro.
Yeah.
Bros don't notice those things.
And then when Alex says, yeah, Merry Christmas, you giant, because he's hugging him way up here.
So funny.
I thought that was a hysterical moment because it's just, it's natural, it's friendly, it's obvious that they're not having a man breakup, like you said, and then but it also acknowledges the fact that Christopher Russell is 11 feet tall.
Yeah, for sure.
And Tyler Hydes is much shorter. So yeah, Merry Christmas, you giant.
I also
the movie that Jessica and Christopher were in together, Merry Matrimony. That was it.
Oh yes, that was a few years ago.
Yeah, it was.
Ago, so yes. I also really loved how Tyler Hynes is an awesome Christmas cynic without being a complete Scrooge. He was just.
Oh my gosh. I wrote down right here in my notes, his character is a lot like Falling for You. He's businesslike, a bit on the cynical edge, but he's not cruel. And he just doesn't have the experience. He doesn't have the experience of Christmas. But when it starts happening, he doesn't close himself off to it or anything.
Right.
Yeah, I really, because it's a fine line. It's a fine line to walk, but he did it so well. This is now the second time that he's done it so well, where he plays a businessman who's here to do a job, but he's not a mean person.
Right. And yeah, he wasn't a Scrooge. I really appreciated that. He had such a great dry sense of humor too, because his lines were the ones I laughed at, and just like his like little smirks here and there. I'm like, you're funny.
His acting style reminds me a lot of Robert Downey Jr. because he's so naturally sarcastic. Now, Robert Downey Jr. is a lot more sarcastic, and Tyler kind of gives it the sweeter edge.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what his style has come to remind me of. And it just makes it so natural. Where he's talking under his breath, like, or when Craig is driving him to the canyon, like, go get your Christmas. Okay, I'm gonna get my Christmas stamp.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, okay, I'm going. It's so funny. It's just he has got to be. I'm talking like an actor again. Sorry, but he has got to be one of the best people to play off of. When you're doing a scene with him, I can imagine that he just gives so much that people just find it so easy to play off of him.
Yeah.
If he hadn't been so hairy, I would have liked him a whole lot better. Because I remember when in that one scene when Sterling and Alex are almost vying for Aria's attention. I'm looking at this TV screen and I said, this is horribly shallow of me, but I would have picked Sterling too.
Yeah.
So Shame on me. But just from what was said, so not knowing any of the backstory stuff, but just what was said and appearances. Yeah, I would have picked him too.
Yeah. I would agree with you there. So no judgment here.
Okay.
Yeah. So one thing that as the bubbly sesh people say, small little gag. Small little gag. I did not really like the fact that Aria was all like, "You betrayed my trust," with the whole, when he reveals that he was or when she finds out from Sterling that Alex was his ghostwriter.
And did she figure that out a little quickly for you? I was like, wait, what? That's kind of quick that Alex told me about the mistletoe story. Oh, it was Alex all along. Like, wait, hold. How did you get from A to B?
I think because she loved, obsessed over Sterling Master's work and the writing and just everything. And there's several points in the movie where she'd say something to Sterling and he'd be like, "What? Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it was kind of tying it.
Yeah, so she was probably thinking in her mind, like, how could you forget this experience, or like how could you forget this detail? Because if
that makes more sense.
You would know, the details. Like, oh, I remember I went to Switzerland and I got these little Christmas bulb things, and they were amazing, and they were hand painted. Like all the little details.
Germany.
Sorry, Germany. Switzerland's the other movie. Germany. And then when Alex picked up one of the Christmas bulbs and he said, the Germany thing, and she's like, "How did you know that?" He was like, "Oh, he kind of played it off." And they're just little things here and there that I know as a woman, I would pick up on, like, wait a second, this doesn't add up. I think it was at that moment when she had dinner with Sterling, it all came together for her when she realized, like, this is why he knows squat about what he was writing about and all that.
And all of the slips that Sterling kept doing.
Yes.
Yeah, he's allergic to poinsettias. How did you know that? I'm like, you are such an
idiot. Yes. But
okay, that does make more sense. Thank you for talking me off the cliff there.
Oh, you're good. I just feel like if there was anybody to be mad at, she should have been mad at Sterling, because he put his supposed best friend through making him successful, and he didn't, Alex never got any of the credit and anything. And then Aria, I thought she was gonna go, Sterling told me everything. And you were such a good friend to him to, basically make him successful. But
you let him take all the credit
and everything. And instead it went the way opposite way. And I was like, what? Girl, what are you doing? No. So that was my little, like, ugh. But at the end, when she realized her mistake, I loved the getting all her friends to stall Alex from leaving town, and then
the car keys.
Yes,
the car keys.
Oh yeah, we'll take you to the airport. Yeah, no big deal. This happens all the time.
We return cars for people all the time. It's just we're very friendly here in Midway. That was classic. It was totally classic.
So overall, I like this movie too. I mean, I didn't think I would like it, really. I gave it orange socks because originally, just because of Tyler Hynes, because I've liked all his movies. Otherwise, I probably would have given it like coal covered socks, because I gave him an orange. So I think I'd stand by that, but they're extra fuzzy and extra warm. So
okay,
yeah. What about you? Do you remember your?
I probably did socks because of Kelly Pickler, but they were probably orange colored socks because of Tyler. So I'm going to up it to an orange because it was not as torturous as I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
I did think that it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It exceeded my expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have to say, because I'm working on a novel, and so all of his novel talk was really hitting home with me. Unfortunately, I can't just take 6 months off of being a mom to go write that novel. So time is a little stretched at the moment, but you know what? It'll happen. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen. But all of his novel talk, I really appreciated. And so when he was pulling all of these synopses out of the air, he's like, it's called The Mistletoe Secret. And this jewel thief hid the prized Christmas gem in the Christmas tree. Like, wow, good job, man.
I was kind of like, I think I would read that just because it's so whimsically nonsensical. I mean, sure.
Well, and that was actually one thing that bothered me. I was like, why is she so suspicious? Why is she so suspicious about, like, why do you need to be at a tree lighting ceremony for a mystery novel? He already told you it's called The Mistletoe Mystery. Duh. It's just, that's when I thought she was being a little oblivious. You already know that it's a mystery surrounded by a theme of Christmas. Get over it.
Right. Right.
Funny. I just said, props to you, man. Pulling that out of the air. Good job. You pulled the title and the synopsis out of the air. Good job. And by the same token, the woman who was on the Christmas committee, I don't remember the character's name, but the red-headed curly the curly redhead who played Mrs. Claus, and then she was also Granny in Once Upon a Time, and she's been in a lot of other Hallmark films. I thought it was so funny that she talks up her acting career and everything like that, and then her flashcards get blown away with the wind. I said, and I even wrote down in my notes, I said, a real actress could improv.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Like she's totally lost without a script.
Yeah.
And I know they did that on purpose. That wasn't a critique of the movie, but Dad setting the two of them up, like, maybe you could go help her get a Christmas tree. Daddy, like, my back is sore.
I know. He was so
classic father move. It was so great.
It was definitely a fun movie with lots of quirky little characters and the mix them up.
I think that's actually something that's kind of been missing so far this year, is a lot of it has been so serious.
Yeah.
So this one kind of gave us a chance to laugh and have fun and just kind of kick back a bit. So I would definitely, so very long explanation for a short question. I'd up it to an orange.
Yeah. It was definitely a fun movie.
Yeah.
Woo! So that's it. We got them all covered.
All four of them.
All
Woo-hoo!
4 of them. Woo! Yep. And it's only mid-November. So where can people follow you?
So you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Kami Drama Girl. Kami spelled Kami, because there are a million spellings of Kami. And you can also find me on Facebook with my Hooked Hardy Facebook page. And my blog is hookedhardy.com.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at Hallmark My Words. So, okay. I guess we can say Merry Christmas.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.